Mostly I think what I love is that letters are these sort of bare bones structures that can be anything. It's about like thousands of small decisions that you make that impact what this thing can be. And I just think it's so fascinating that you can start with a thing that like everyone recognizes, but there's, millions of different paths that you can take to make that thing into a final piece of artwork. My name's Jessica Hish, and I'm a lettering artist and author and illustrator living here in Oakland. Ever since I moved to Oakland, I have been still working at the studio in San Francisco, but I'm not there every day. I pretty much go into the studio 4 days a week, though it's going to change a little bit now that my daughter is in preschool. I'm a weirdo that has always been super into commuting because I feel like it allows me to start my day with some like chill brain time rather than immediately having to like be at my office and dive right into it. That person was like the most polite California driver ever because usually people speed up as soon as you put your turn signal on. I went to school in Philadelphia, and all of the designers that I graduated with, a lot of people left. People left to go to New York or they left to go to LA. And so around me wasn't actually a lot of my classmates that were designers. It was actually all the freelance illustrators that lived in Philly, which I think really shifted what I wanted to get out of my career just because I saw this model of what work could be, which was to work on things that you wanted to work on at any given point, to maybe have a studio, to maybe work from your house. I saw people planning their families and doing things like that, and just that flexibility just seemed so romantic to me. And so when I was, thinking about the future, I was like, I think I'm going to be a freelance illustrator. This was my very first business card that I made, which I printed as 3-color letterpress. It was a very fancy business card. So I've done a ton of papyrus cards, and these are one of the things that when you see them in person, they are a lot more impressive than when you see the digital files. They always go like way crazier on effects than I ever would. Like this one is really cool because it's very much just based on Daily Drop Cap. When Daily Drop Cap launched, my freelance work hadn't totally transitioned to being lettering work yet. So I started Daily Drop Cap as a way to make sure that every day I was still exercising this muscle, that every day I got to show up at my office and make letters, even if I wasn't getting paid to do it. It ended up getting pushed to like the far corners of the internet, much farther than I thought it would ever get pushed. Which for something that's like so specific is crazy. I started getting interviewed a lot for it, which then translated into, you want to come speak at our conference and talk about this? And then once I was on the conference stage, then that opened up my work to a lot of different people too. And so ever since that project has launched, I've gotten a ton of work because people will reference it. Here we go. So much has come from that. Something that started as just like an exercise, a way for me to just, make something every day, became this thing that launched my career really. Do you see how many layers the cake has?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 3 layers. What kind of cake do you like?
Chocolate.
Chocolate cake? Is that your favorite kind of cake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I had my daughter, I feel like I did need a creative wake-up call. I ended up taking on a lot of work that was work that was really well paying, that was like, pretty exciting, but not stuff that was necessarily like these smaller passion projects. And then I became so conscious of my time, especially once I had my daughter, where like any time that I was working, I was like, I need to be doing work that makes money. When money is a concern, and this happens when people have really high student loan debt and stuff like that too, is that you just make really safe choices and you feel like you can't experiment and that you can't do stuff that's crazy and that you can't just like mess around on a given Wednesday on some piece that you might not even turn into anything. But I was like, no wonder I feel this weird tension with my work because I'm not putting myself out there and making stuff.
We have plates.
I am excited. Looks good to me. All right, thanks again. Suddenly I had this like, oh my God, I need to make time to make work. And right at that moment is when I actually bought this letterpress that I now have at my home studio. So in buying this press, even though it was like outrageously expensive, it made the friction to me making personal work that I just like felt like making so much lower. And then anytime that I got an idea for like, oh, you know, like, oh, that phrase is just stuck in my head, I'm gonna make a piece of art on that on my iPad this morning, and then I'm gonna send that art away to get made into a plate this afternoon, and then I'm gonna pick up that plate tomorrow and I'm gonna print it tomorrow night. Suddenly it became so easy to do something that felt so hard. And so I think it's really important when you are feeling kind of stuck to like look for what is getting you stuck and try to like grease that wheel, you know, just to get you working again. Looks pretty good. And, you know, ever since I feel like all of a sudden I didn't feel like victimized by my position as a parent or, you know, by wanting to keep up financially. And it became like, no, like I can do what I want because really like that's what got me here in the first place is actually just making work that I was interested in. If I just try to like put on my soundproof headphones and just don't listen to what people are asking me to do and listen to what I want to do, it's that work that ends up moving my career forward. My whole life, all I'm trying to do is make the time that I'm spending feel valuable to me. I want to make sure that I'm enjoying every moment, and it's less about what the end result is and more just about what the individual moments are that you can stitch together over time. And I've been told by people that's kind of how Zen works. So all successes are a happy accident that happen just because you're doing your thing. And if you love doing your thing, then you've lived a good life.